welcome back to our channel. Today's video is just going to be a little sit down, story time, I guess you could call it. Decided to talk about what happened with my father. I left, I made a video about what happened to my daughter, and I think I did my mother. But I'll leave them in the description box below. My dad was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. And it finally took his life on January 3rd, 2003. It started, he was in the room that we called the computer room because it had a computer in it. And he was feeling his chest, right around here or whatever. And he called me and my mother in the room and told us that he felt something and wanted us to, see if we felt it too. So we felt, and we did feel something, but I didn't really think nothing of it, even though my mother had already had breast cancer at that point. I still didn't really think that much of it, but we knew that he needed to go to the doctor and get it checked out, because, we weren't doctors. So he went to the doctor, and they said it was terminal. Well, when they give you a diagnosis like that, you automatically, want to know how long they have. They couldn't tell us how long he had. So we decided we were just going to, just take, each day at a time. And, whatever. Well, they had him started on chemo. He did chemo for a little bit. But, like I said, it was terminal, and, we knew that these treatments weren't really gonna help or anything. He had an ashtray that he kept on the, coffee table in the living room. And when his hair would fall out, he would put his hair in the ashtray. And he would say, "See, I didn't lose my hair, it's right here." And, he'd make jokes about it and everything, and I don't know why it bothered me so much. It bothered him, but he made jokes about it. Me, on the other hand, it hurt me. So they told him to go ahead and stop chemo, and they started him on radiation. He'd go to radiation every day. And I would take him. We would go from our house in Lexington, and we go to, up to Winston. My grandfather pretty much gave me his car, his extra car, because we didn't have a dependable ride at that time. So I would take him to his appointments every day. One night, he said he didn't know how he was going to get to radiation the next day. And I kind of laughed, and I said, "What do you mean? I'm going to take you like I always do." He said, "No, baby." He said, "I can barely walk." So we started calling, and we still didn't really think anything. Because, it was getting close to Christmas at that point, and he'd already been in the hospital for a week. And we didn't think that he was going to be able to spend Christmas with us. I kept saying in my head, "Please let him come home. Please let him come home. Let us spend one more Christmas together." And we got our wish. He got to come home on Christmas Eve that year. This is before, this particular episode that I'm, talking about right now happened. So, he came home. We celebrated Christmas. And then that's when, he told me that he didn't know how he was going to be able to go to the doctor in the morning. So we called and everything, and they hooked him up with an ambulance, so they would come in, and help him, get out to the, to the ambulance, and he could lay down, and they would take him to his radiation appointment. Well, I had anxiety about riding in an ambulance for some reason, which I already, I have now, but I told Mama, I said, "Well, you just go ahead and go with Daddy, and I'll stay here, and I'll clean the house." She said, "All right." So when they left, I started cleaning the house. And then I took a shower. And I had just got out of the shower and the phone rang. And we had caller ID and it said Wake Forest. So I answered it like immediately. And it was Mama, and she called and said that I needed to get my grandmother and my uncle and get to the hospital. And that's pretty much all she really said. She didn't really give me any other, So we get up there and they tell us that the cancer has pretty much ate a hole in his stomach. And all of the fluids and everything are, and they were like, the cancer has spread to, I forgot how many parts of his body, because it has been a long time. But they were like, we could do surgery, but I honestly don't think he would make it through the surgery. Well, we told him, he set up a hospice. So they say, he could come home. Now, I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. But there was a football game that my dad wanted to watch, the Georgia Bulldogs. And he was excited about getting to go home, thinking he could watch the Bulldogs one more time. And he said, maybe I can watch the Bulldogs Thursday. One of the nurses looked at him and said, no, you won't be around then. Like, I mean, it might have been true, and she might not have meant it the way it came out, but that kind of pissed us off. And I could see the hurt in my dad's eyes, like, I mean, you could have said it nicer, When we get him home, and he's got all these plans. He wanted us to bring our computer in there and the printer, so we did. He wanted me to borrow my grandmother's video camera, so we did. He was going to make us a video. He was going to write us a letter. But they had him on morphine, to help him, rest and stuff. And every day they would come out and they would check on him. And every day they would tell us, it ain't going to be much longer. They gave us a little book from hospice. I think it's called Gone From My Sight. And it tells you, the kind of the stages and what's going to happen and everything. Well, the night that he died, he started, I'm not exactly sure what he was doing, but it scared me and my mom and my grandmother. So we called hospice, and they came out and they changed the bed and everything. And when they put him back down, he started doing what they call fish out of water breathing. And she said, fish out of water. And I remember from the book where that said it was just, that when they hit that stage, it's just minutes. And I was like, so that means he's not going to be here much longer. And she's, yeah, you're right. Well, he took in one big breath and then blew it out. And that was it. There was no screaming. There was nothing. It was just silent. And they stayed with us until and they helped us call the funeral home. I couldn't be out there. I went to my mom and dad's bedroom, and I happened to look out at the wrong time. I looked up just as they were zipping the body bag.